From the moment Meghan Markle's With Love Meghan hit Netflix, warning bells rang out across social media. What should have been a fan-favorite glimpse into her personal world turned into a ratings catastrophe. Insiders whispered that this was exactly what Netflix's CEO Greg Peters had predicted, yet somehow it all went ahead anyway, and the fallout was immediate. Now, not only is With Love Meghan flopping, but the entire partnership between Markle and the streaming giant is teetering on the brink. Rumors swirl about cancellations, furious boardroom showdowns, and last-ditch attempts to salvage her public image. So, what really happened behind the scenes, and where does Meghan Markle go from here? When With Love Meghan was first announced, Netflix's marketing machine went into overdrive. Early teasers hyped up a personal, revealing look at Meghan's day-to-day life and the warm, relatable charm she would supposedly bring. But from day one, the audience response was underwhelming. Critics panned the show's disjointed structure and artificial vibe. Tweets poured in calling it contrived and unbearably forced. Even some of Meghan's staunch supporters admitted the show felt more like a shallow PR piece than a genuine documentary. Behind closed doors, a handful of Netflix insiders, led by CEO Greg Peters, were hardly surprised. Peters had reportedly warned the board that the series was too unfocused and risked alienating viewers. Still, a significant portion of the board was dazzled by Meghan's celebrity status and insisted that her name alone would guarantee a massive viewership. That gamble backfired. Subscription numbers dipped soon after the show's release, and Netflix found itself battling not just the cost of producing With Love Meghan, but also the negative press surrounding its lackluster content lineup. Many viewers were already frustrated by subscription price hikes, and the additional disappointment of Markle's show seemed to push them away for good. What truly shook Netflix leadership was how quickly word spread about the show's failings. Online communities ridiculed the series, calling it phony. Some even said the energy felt staged beyond belief. Suddenly, Meghan's star power wasn't just a lackluster draw, it was hurting Netflix's brand. But that was only the beginning. Deep inside Netflix's halls, a new storm brewed as the company weighed whether to pull the plug on Meghan's future plans altogether. While With Love Meghan was still in post-production, Netflix had already greenlit a new project tentatively titled Fashion for Meghan. The premise was simple, if not a bit self-indulgent. Cameras would follow Meghan strolling down Rodeo Drive, visiting luxury boutiques, trying on exorbitantly priced jewelry, and sharing style tips with whichever celebrity friend popped up. Rumor had it, the show's budget hovered around a mind-blowing $50 million. To Netflix execs, this sounded like a potential goldmine. After all, reality-style content featuring lavish spending and star-studded cameos often attracts a curious and sometimes envious audience. The board believed Meghan's global recognizability would hook viewers who crave a glimpse of the high life. So they planned to expedite shooting, aiming to release the 6-episode series before her Netflix contract renewal date, likely in a desperate bid to show positive results to both subscribers and stakeholders. Then, everything changed. Disastrous reviews for With Love Meghan panicked the board. Greg Peters cautioned that doubling down on another Meghan-centric show would be like pouring gasoline on a brush fire. With the company's image already under scrutiny, the last thing Netflix needed was more backlash about frivolous spending and shallow content. In an abrupt move that blindsided many, the board canceled Fashion for Meghan outright. Furious, Markle tried to intervene, reportedly accusing Netflix of sabotaging her brand and breaking promises. But this time, the board sided with its CEO, concluding that the risk to their subscriber base was too great. A show about burning through wealth in shiny stores, at a time when regular folks are pinching pennies, felt tone-deaf. If With Love Meghan was the spark of controversy, Fashion for Meghan would have been an inferno. Tensions ran high in Netflix's top-level meetings. On one side stood Greg Peters, increasingly vindicated by the real-world data showing plummeting interest in Meghan's content. On the other side sat several board members who championed Meghan from the start, convinced she still had the potential to draw a massive audience. According to insiders, Netflix leadership argued bitterly over the company's direction. Some insisted that although With Love Meghan flopped, the company should stick to the contract it offered her. Maybe she just needed a new format or better promotional strategy. But Peters presented cold, hard numbers. Since her series dropped, Netflix saw a noticeable uptick in canceled subscriptions and social media negativity. Another show in the same vein could accelerate this downward spiral. The clash reportedly reached a breaking point when Peters scheduled a private meeting to showcase viewer sentiment reports, which included everything from harsh tweets to internal analytics on watch time drop-off. These findings were brutal. Even Meghan's fanbase had a limit, and many felt she'd crossed the line by releasing a show so disconnected from everyday reality. At the end of the meeting, the majority sided with Peters. Plans for additional Meghan-driven content were halted. The official message was that Netflix needed a creative reset. Unofficially, it was more like, "We can't afford to alienate our customers any further." In a single boardroom session, Meghan's future with Netflix went from rock solid to hanging by a thread. Yet the blow to her reputation outside Netflix would prove even more severe. While internal debates raged, the outside world was taking notice. Viewers posted scathing reviews of "With Love Meghan," labeling it a vanity project and calling out what they saw as endless scripted monologues. A wave of memes mocked its made-up authenticity, and casual onlookers complained that the show was all style, zero substance. Even more damaging were the confessions from longtime supporters who felt betrayed. Many claimed Meghan's story once inspired them, someone who rose from modest beginnings and married into royalty. But now, this reality show vibe felt unnatural, as though she was crafting a narrative just to stay in the limelight. Critics argued her philanthropic speeches about compassion and empathy clashed with a lavish series about personal grandeur. Online chatter only got louder when insiders leaked that the next planned series, Fashion for Meghan, was axed. Some fans expressed relief, saying they would have boycotted Netflix if the streamer wasted more resources on tone-deaf celebrity indulgence. Others questioned why Netflix agreed to such projects in the first place, wondering if the board had lost touch with the average consumer's interests. The backlash also bled into general Hollywood gossip, with agents and producers privately admitting that they viewed Meghan's brand as radioactive. Celebrity or not, viewer loyalty is fickle. In a world where streaming services fight tooth and nail for subscriptions, a failing show becomes a liability, no matter who's starring in it. Rather than nurse her wounds in silence, Meghan reportedly began exploring other options. Whispers surfaced that she'd reached out to Amazon, seeking a fresh multi-million-dollar deal once her Netflix contract expires later this year. Some claim she's aiming for a broader creative partnership, possibly including talk shows, documentary specials, or even scripted drama projects loosely based on her experiences. Why Amazon? Word in the industry is that Amazon Prime Video has been eager to expand star-driven content, even acquiring major franchises to draw in a global audience. From big-name showrunners to lavish productions, Amazon is not afraid to spend big and take risks. If Netflix is no longer sold on Meghan's brand, maybe Amazon sees untapped potential. But skepticism lingers here too. Critics note that Amazon has also faced backlash for some of its giant budget productions, especially when the final product doesn't live up to the hype. They might be wary of signing a personality who's already in hot water with a large portion of the public. Others argue that controversy can be a magnet for clicks. Even negative attention can drive an audience to hate watch, boosting overall engagement metrics. Whether Amazon wholeheartedly embraces Meghan's proposals or treads carefully remains to be seen. What's clear is that if Netflix fully steps away, she'll need a new platform, and she's determined to find one. This saga isn't just about Meghan Markle or one misguided Netflix show. It represents a bigger shift in how Hollywood and the streaming industry function. Audiences are growing more selective, demanding authentic storytelling over hollow name-brand celebrity. Lavish spending on high-profile personalities no longer guarantees success. In fact, it can backfire if viewers suspect it's all for show. Netflix's turbulent partnership with Meghan highlights these changing tastes. The days when a recognizable name automatically meant high viewership seem to be over. People want substance, or at the very least, entertaining content that doesn't feel like a brazen attempt to stay famous. Streaming platforms, from Netflix to HBO Max to Amazon, are all rethinking their strategies. Is it worth sinking tens of millions of dollars into star vehicles with questionable mass appeal? Even some Hollywood insiders argue that the industry is facing a reality check. Studios are trimming budgets, prioritizing creative ideas with real audience potential, and shelving projects that look more like vanity endeavors. Under this new climate, Meghan's reliance on her royal-adjacent status may not carry the weight it once did. Yet there's always the possibility of a comeback. After all, Hollywood loves redemption stories. Think of the countless actors and public figures who fell from grace but returned with compelling projects that recaptured the public's heart. Whether Meghan can pivot to genuine, meaningful content is the question everyone's asking. In the wake of cancellations and boardroom battles, Netflix finds itself bleeding subscribers, partly from inflated subscription prices and partly from underwhelming shows like With Love Meghan. This double blow has forced the platform to reassess priorities. The board is reining in risky celebrity deals, focusing instead on content that resonates with a broad audience. Meghan, meanwhile, navigates a precarious position. She once represented a fresh perspective within the royal narrative, a charismatic global figure bridging Hollywood and monarchy. Now, she's struggling to find her footing amid whispers of forced authenticity and declining viewership. If her rumored Amazon negotiations move forward, she'll face an uphill battle to win over an audience that's seen her stumble. Some fans hold out hope that her next project will reflect genuine openness, free from the glamorized lens that so many criticized. Others doubt she can bounce back, arguing that the damage to her credibility is too deep. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. In an industry driven by headlines, Meghan's story may just need a fresh angle, a truly new perspective that goes beyond rebranding or vanity projects. Meanwhile, Netflix's leadership, especially Greg Peters, breathes a cautious sigh of relief. They've potentially avoided an even bigger fiasco by canceling Fashion for Meghan. Whether that decision can mend their relationship with disillusioned subscribers is still up in the air. The streaming wars are brutal, and one misstep can send even the biggest platform into a subscriber exodus. Meghan Markle's tumultuous journey with Netflix says a lot about today's ever-changing entertainment landscape. Her show promised an inside look into a glamorous life, but ended up facing a tidal wave of criticism and viewer skepticism. Plans for a high-end fashion series died before filming ever began, and rumors of an Amazon deal now cast an uncertain light on her next move. Perhaps this entire episode will serve as a wake-up call, not just for Meghan, but for studios eager to bank on celebrity fame without ensuring real substance. Audiences have grown wise to production gimmicks and PR campaigns disguised as authentic glimpses. If there's any lesson here, it's that star status alone no longer guarantees success, and the public is swift in voicing displeasure when they sense a disconnect from reality. The path forward for Meghan hinges on whether she can truly reinvent her brand, shifting away from the glitzy veneer and offering something that rings true. And for Netflix, the road ahead involves winning back trust by avoiding overpriced vanity projects and focusing on content that captivates, informs, or at least entertains without insult. As for how this drama ultimately ends, only time will tell. Meghan might stage a comeback that silences critics, or she could continue sliding into irrelevance. One thing's certain, in the high-stakes world of streaming and celebrity, no one stays on top or at the bottom forever.